Hello, friends. Where are you all at on your brunch journey? I just finished some brunch myself. What about you, Julie?
It is a journey every single weekend.
You make it sound so dramatic. Like my
You're the
brunch
one that
journey.
used the J word. Okay. It's like eggs or eggs. What way are we going
Uh,
to make our eggs?
yeah, which way? I do feel a lot of pressure every time they ask me, how do you want your eggs done? I'm like, oh,
Oh, I'm sunny side up, tried and true.
okay. Sunny side up is good. I like that. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna use that from now on because I always say scrambled because I get scrambled myself. But anyway, we're here to dive into your dating questions and not
People are
how
like,
you
I
like
don't
your
give a
eggs.
shit. Yeah.
However, if you have a preference of how you like your eggs done, if that's not a
Let us
normal
know.
way, let us know. We want to know. We want to know how you get your eggs done. But the question for this episode is, what do you do when your date forgets your name?
And more context, I was on a second date at a bowling alley, and my date went to enter my name on the screen, and he
Mhm.
entered the incorrect name.
Ay.
I got a major ick, and I don't know if this is something I can recover from.
Oh,
Thoughts?
that's so mortifying.
Oh,
Mortifying for
poor.
both
I
people.
know. I kind of feel bad for. I mean, it's terrible for her too. I kind of feel bad for him that that error even happened.
There are 2 ways. There are only really 2 ways you can handle this. It's just like how there are 2 ways I like my eggs. You either make fun of that situation, make light of it. Well, really, I mean, who's Sarah?
Yeah.
Is when's Sarah joining us? I don't know who this is. Make a light of it or really, like, have a conversation with this person and be like, "Are we" you know, "You do know that's not my name, right? And that's a little offensive to me." Just to let them know that this really bothers you.
Yeah. I mean, okay, at least it was the second date and not like the 10th date. It could definitely be worse,
Mm,
that's for sure. I'm not saying it's a good thing that it happened, but let's be honest. In today's world, we're all dating multiple people at once. Or I shouldn't say we're all, but many people are. It's not like this guy was doing something wrong by dating other people. That's probably what it's coming from. He's mixing you up with someone else he's either talking to her on apps or went on a date with. That being said, yeah, it never feels good to know that, even though it might be happening. I remember like seeing a guy that I went on one date with at a bar on another date. And there was something like kind of ick about the feeling of just being like, oh, he's out so soon after with someone else. So I
yeah.
get that side of it. And I also get the ick factor of like, this person couldn't even just like look at the text or look at my profile before we went out as a refresher, like on the second date. I get that too. But at the same time, I think you have to ask yourself, like, how much is this going to really impact moving forward? If you like this person
Yeah.
for everything else, like maybe it's okay just to make a little light of it. Of course, if it keeps happening, that's another story.
This really bothers me to no
Okay.
end. It really bothers me because I think about how when I was dating multiple people, I made an extra effort to keep everyone's
Yeah,
name
true.
straight.
Fair.
And the fact that he put in your name into a computer, like spelled out the wrong name is like a second step to forgetting your name. Okay. It's like, it's one thing to catch yourself. I've definitely done this, like catch myself and be like, wait, what was his name again? Oh, yeah, right. They don't see that side, but you putting their name, spelling it out for everyone to see, that's like you didn't catch yourself and you were so confident in this person's name. So that's the part that bothers me. And I think if it were to happen to me on a date, I would be pretty pissed and I would tell this guy, like, I'm pretty offended right now.
I'm
You would
really
not like it if I did this to you.
I'm really glad that we have such polarized different opinions on this. Again, I go back to my take is like it's not ideal. I'm certainly not saying it's an ideal thing that happened. Of course, if this didn't happen, that would be a lot better. I just get that shit happens sometimes. Like, I've definitely blinked on people's names, not even people I'm dating on, not even people I'm dating, just like people that come into contact with. I blinked on their name and I thought it was something else. And maybe if I had to go so far to type it in, I would have typed in the wrong name. So I'm just trying to like give a little grace here too, that this isn't like the end of the world deal breaker, in my opinion. If it keeps happening, that's a totally different story. And I agree that's really messed up. I remember I was on a date once where someone forgot my name. And it
How?
really okay, so they didn't give me another name. I remember like we were out and I guess just never this was a first date. So it wasn't a second date, but it was a first date. We were out talking. On the way out, he like put me in a cab. This was so long ago. Put me in a cab to like say goodbye. And you could tell it was that awkward moment where he just like completely did not remember my name. Like it was
Mm.
just like bye and then like went to say it and it just like pause, right? You know that moment.
Yes.
So he didn't go as far as saying another name, but you knew he didn't know it. And I was pissed. I was annoyed. I was like, I can't believe I sat through an entire meal with or entire drinks with this person and they don't
Mhm.
remember my name. It did feel bad. I'm not trying to like dismiss the feeling of it. I did realize ultimately this was again a long time ago, and it was when you had screen names. I realized I actually never gave the guy my
Oh.
name in the
Oh.
first place, but I didn't know that in the moment. So yeah, it all resolved. I think though where I'm going with this, like I don't want to diminish that it stinks. Like it's a bad feeling. But if you like this person on all of their accounts, I don't know if it's enough to like get in the way of it.
Right. Yes. Yes. I think in theory that makes a lot of sense. If they're
Or you're like,
they
no, but
make
I'm
you feel
annoyed. Yeah.
great. Yeah, if they're an attentive listener, they feel make you feel great, you're attracted to them. If that were to happen to me on a date, all of that will wash away. Like honestly, this would supersede everything because I would just be like, ugh. It's just like this gut-wrenching feeling of like, ugh, I don't know. I don't know what that feels like. Cause the times I've forgotten someone's name, like if this were me on his side and I had to put in names into bowling and I forgot her name, I would just ask, like,
Yeah.
"Hey, do you want your
Oh,
name on the screen or do you want
yeah.
a nickname?" Like, it would
Oh
be
my
funny because
God.
I'm gonna be Doggy255. Do you wanna be something else?
Is that worse though? Because she's not going to be like, oh yeah, I want my name. Please put in Julie. Like she's not going to say that, you
Right, I
know?
mean, yeah,
She would
that
just,
would be the risk you run into,
yeah,
that
she'd be
she's like,
like,
"Yeah, yeah, my name."
put my name in. And then you're like, okay. Or that let's say she said nickname is fine. Then you go through the whole date thinking her nickname is like Doggy530. Like,
Well, I mean, I guess my point is I think he really thought this was her name, though, because he
oh yeah,
was yeah,
totally.
s
Totally.
he had no doubt, like, he wasn't like, "Oh, what was her name again?" He was like,
No.
"This is so confidently her name."
Yeah,
That's the
absolutely.
part that would really irk me, like, I would be like, oh. And I've never had someone forget my name on a date that I know of, but I've certainly, like, slept with someone, and then the next day, the guy was like, "So I pronounce your name Yue, right?" Like, he had to get the proper pronunciation after we slept together.
Wait, so he did remember your name?
He remembered my name, but he was like, "I just
Oh,
wanna
he
make
didn't know how to
sure."
say how it
Yeah,
he
he's
didn't know
like,
how to say
"It's
it.
pronounced Yue, right?" I'm like, "You just penetrated me, yet you didn't know how to pronounce my name?"
Did that feel shitty? Like, I feel like that would feel shitty to me
Oh,
because
that
you, like, went that
totally f
ex
yes. Definitely felt shitty. Definitely felt because you're doing something so intimate, yet
yeah.
you didn't know how to say my name.
So maybe we're missing some details here of, like, how
Mm.
shitty the situation is. I have some thoughts, but before we get into that, let's take a minute to hear from our sponsors. Okay, so did they kiss on the first date? Did they
Mhm.
sleep together on the first date?
Mhm.
Did they spend 8 hours together on the first date, or did they have, like, a coffee date? I think
Right.
those are very different things as well. I'm dying to know, did this person actually say something to him?
Yeah.
Like, did they call them out? Because I think that's so telling too, right?
Yeah.
Like, what their response would be if you said something.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. It's all how you handle. the situation. And also, yeah, like you said, what was the extent of the intimacy before this date? And that could mean a lot. Maybe your first date was just a 5-minute a coffee around the block.
Right.
And yeah, it can all happen. But I want to know what you would do if you were on a second date with someone, and let's say the first date lasted like 6 hours. You had such a great first date,
Yeah.
but you're seeing all these other people and you go on the second date with this guy, and in the middle of like something, like you had to say something with his name in it and you just cannot recall his name. What would you do?
I wouldn't address him by name. I would just be like, "And you?" No. But
And point.
I would go back and look at my phone or look at my, their profile or however I met them later and definitely make sure I knew it after that.
Yeah, I think I would take a bathroom break,
Yeah?
take my phone in there, just clarify, confirm, and then come back out.
So you're like, "And I need to
I'll
go to
be
the
right back.
bathroom."
I gotta pee.
You, hey you, let's go to
Hey,
the
you.
bathroom for a minute.
BRB. You really don't call each other by name that much on dates, right?
Yeah.
There aren't that many opportunities to say each other's name.
Look, I mean, I absolutely get why this person is offended. I don't want to make it feel like I don't see that because,
Yeah,
especially if you had a connection with them, for them to just be like, I don't know who you are, it's a bad feeling.
yeah.
I do think though, like in today's world, like we have to acknowledge the environment we're in, and we are so quick to throw people out for every last mistake they made. I would be more interested in how they recover from the mistake.
Mhm.
That I think to me is more telling about like, is this person worth investing in further? If they recover well and then you go on your journey and life and you get married, this could be a really funny story that you tell. You
Mhm.
know, when it's way in the past. Or it could be something that just never lets the relationship get off the ground. I think you get to choose what that is. And my take is, as the person that did nothing wrong, like I'm not the one that forgot, I would rather give the person the opportunity and then I decide how I want to proceed.
Mhm. Yeah, that's very fair of you. And if you're the one forgetting names, it's a good time to pause and ask, am I dating too many people at once? Am I
Absolutely.
juggling too many people?
Yes.
Any parent will tell you, any parent who's had multiple kids will tell you, they start forgetting names after the second child. Like your brain just doesn't have capacity
Yeah.
to call all these people's names all the time. That's why you always hear parents go, you, come back, you. Like even my aunt gets my name mixed up with her daughter,
Oh
my
my
cousin,
god.
all the time. She's like, you. So just like maybe it's just time to step back and say, I probably don't have capacity for all these people right now.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard from multiple people that three is kind of the magic number if you are going to be dating multiple people, to have like three people in your rotation at any given time. Because after that, it is really hard to keep the stats correct. I
Yeah.
think name is clearly like the most obvious, but it's also insulting like when someone mixes up where you work or mixes
Yes.
up some other detail or hobby you have. Like that also really stinks. All of this just makes it feel like you're not a priority, that you're
Yeah.
not someone that is worth remembering things about. And that is not the way to get a relationship off the ground.
No.
So I think, again, for this one, it's like each little one on their own, maybe like you can recover from, but it's when it keeps happening, that's really hard to come back from.
Yeah. Yeah. Give the person the opportunity to bounce back or to redeem themselves, but
Yeah.
also make sure that you don't compromise your own standards in the way like,
No,
"Oh, it's fine if you call me that's fine. You can call me whatever
no.
you want." Like, don't be that person either. Definitely express how much this bothered you and then give them the opportunity to step up.
And I get in the moment you might have just been taken off guard that this is even
Yeah.
happening. Like I remember when that happened to me, I was just like, "Wait, does this person not know what my name is?" Like I couldn't even
Yeah.
just be like, "Do you not know what my name is?" Like I couldn't get those words
Yeah,
out.
true.
So if you did go through the date and you didn't really know how to react. You can always text, you can always bring it up again if you have another date in the books. Like, it's not like, oh, it passed, I should just forget about it. I think you
Mhm.
can say something, just be like, even if, let's say, you want to still be light about it. Like, let's say you do have another date planned,
Mhm.
or they're trying to set up a date. Like, I think you could just be like, just so you know, like, my name is Julie. Just want to
Right.
put that out
Right.
there ahead of
Right.
time, like making light of it. Like, they might be embarrassed, or just like, you could even say, like, I don't want to embarrass you, but like, this happened last time. I just want to make sure we're on the same page if we keep going out.
Yeah, I like that, setting people up for success. I know my name is hard to pronounce, so I say it multiple times when I'm on first dates just so they get comfortable with it. But I get that, like, remind them of your name, and this could be the
Yeah,
most epic inside joke
it
ever. If you
could. It
if you
definitely
last,
could.
this is like something you could take on into your relationship forever and could be hilarious.
Oh, I definitely see it at like the wedding speech. Like, I forgot her name on the second date. It's a
Yeah. We had a date. We had a three-way date. It was us 2 and someone named Sarah.
yeah. So yeah, your name, I feel like people probably mispronounce it all the time.
All the
Like,
time.
how have you corrected it, or is it just like a no-go deal breaker for you?
I really respect people on a first date will ask me, "How do I properly pronounce your name?"
Yeah.
They ask. The ones that just assume or they don't ask, I just know they don't respect me enough to want to know how to pronounce my name. Like, they don't know,
Yeah.
and they don't care to clarify. I've definitely had, like, been on a 3rd date with someone, and then they said my name in a weird way. It wasn't, like, totally off, but it was like, "Huh, it's a little weird." They weren't super confident, and that's
Yeah.
when I knew too.
I
I get
think
really sensitive about names.
yeah, and I get it. I think one of the things too that daters don't want to come off, like, I think people are afraid to ask questions because they don't want to come off like, "Oh, I should know this."
Yeah.
Like, "Oh my god, I don't know this." Like, that looks really bad. They don't want to look bad at the end of the day. So I think, like, it's interesting that you interpret it as respect, and I
Mhm.
see that perspective, but I also don't necessarily know if that's what the intention is of the person. Like, they
Right.
might just be trying to save face and not look like an idiot.
True. True.
Like, in this case, do you think it would have been better if the guy had just been like, I totally have a mind blank right now. Like, what's your name again? Do you think that would have been better if he hadn't known?
Yeah, if he was unsure of her name, absolutely pause and do something. Not just pick out a random name or be confident about another name. Like, that's such a risk to take. That's why I'm still thinking this guy really thought her name was this other
Oh,
thing.
yeah, and we don't know what the situation was. I absolutely agree. I think a lot of it's probably subconscious, and even the people you were dating, like, maybe they really believe that's how it was pronounced. Like, they might not have given it as much thought as I'm suggesting, but I do wanna just put it out there that there is this, like, ego side too, that
Yeah,
people don't wanna look like an idiot on dates, and it doesn't necessarily serve them, but I think that's where it comes from sometimes.
sure. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. But great question.
Great question.
Entertaining question.
Keep
I
us
love it.
posted. Listener that wrote this in,
Please.
very curious to see what the next steps were. Did you just immediately get the ick, move on, done, or did
Yeah.
you actually say something to them?
Or did you just permanently change your name just to make it easier on everyone?
You're like, my name is now Sarah.
It was much easier to legally change my name than to correct my partner. Yes. Okay. Well, thanks for that question. Everybody else, you can get your question in by emailing us at hello@dateablepodcast.com, or you can DM us on Instagram at dateablepodcast, or best option is to give us a rating and review in Apple Podcasts. This is how we support the podcast, is by your
Yes.
reviews. This is the only way we market the show is through your word of mouth. So please, if you can, get those reviews in 5 stars, please. And in the body of your review, you can ask your question right there. This is how
Yep.
this person got their question in.
Yep. And if you leave a review on Spotify, which is also very much encouraged, feel free to send us an email or DM just saying dropped a review, because you can actually write one there. And here's my question. It will also prioritize that.
Yes. And if you want double the brownie points,
Do it
leave
both.
both. Yes, do both. I'm on both platforms. Double whammy. Okay. All right. We'll see you all next week.
Bye.